for
Very
everyday use and
welcome to-
utility.
Welcome.
Josh, you're in Texas. I
Yeah.
feel like that's different. It's
Hey,
like
no. I hate it. It's worse down here.
Yeah. In Dallas, that's bad. Texas as a state, it's not even bad as a state in Ohio, but it's like not a quarter of the cars on the road should not be trucks.
No,
There's no way. Like
not on 675. It's fine. It's wide already. It's fine. You don't need to fill the entire lane.
Maybe this should just be what I'm following. I just was trying to put. No, I'll save it. I'll save it.
Excuse me. I have. Where's my what I'm following?
Wait, is Chicago State joining the Northeast Conference? Is that actually true? See, this is why I hate this day. Is that real?
Probably not.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see their court though with the giant cougar?
Yeah.
I want that to be real.
And it's that court that it has the Northeast Conference logo on it. So I'm like, what part of it?
Oh.
This is why I'm
now
going
that would be really clever though, Aaron, if that part was real.
Yeah.
I actually would give them major props. I feel like that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay. It is real. December 5th, 2023. They are joining
Cool.
in the fall of 2024.
Nice.
Let's go. All right.
I like that.
Yeah,
that
me
makes
too.
me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
All right. I think I am. Wow, the Rockies are bad at baseball. Holy smokes. Whew. Whew. Someone posted tough year so far. I'm like, brother, it's been 4 games.
It's been 4 actual
5,
games.
I think, maybe, but it doesn't matter. Terrible. The Reds are going to kill me, but we could talk about that.
Aaron, the bullpen. Always. Every year. There's no reason for it to be this bad.
No.
They've cost me like $10 already.
They just cost me my sanity is all, but
Man, this is going to be a really interesting year because I'm just looking at the Rangers who are already 3 up at the bottom of the first over the Rays, and
yeah,
it's now to where I can't even go to a game because they're popular and expensive.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the downside of a good team. Thankfully, the Reds are not there yet. So
Yes.
all right, I just gotta make sure my Audacity works, and then I think I'm all good.
Oh, yes, the Audacity.
It's not working.
Have the White Sox scored yet?
They hadn't in this season so far. Also, the Astros hadn't. Have they scored?
Yeah, they've scored.
I think they're scored,
Oh,
yeah.
But they haven't won. Amazing.
Oh.
My prediction's doing well. Is it a 162 game season? Yes.
Why? What was your
But
prediction? That they're going to be
that
bad?
they missed the playoffs.
Oh,
Yeah, they're 0-4 currently. I love that.
Yeah.
yeah, the
pretty
Yankees
good.
swept them.
They're on pace to be 0 and 162.
Yep,
Okay. White Sox did score.
that's
The White
sad.
Sox
but good
have
for them.
scored.
Good for the Tigers.
They lost. Yeah, they lost. Yeah, 7-6 to
Mhm.
the Tigers, and then 3-2 to the Tigers, and
Yep.
then 9-0 today to the Braves. Oh,
Hmm.
guys,
There's
maybe
that's my
try
biggest
to-
takeaway so far is like I think the good teams are going to be good, but my goodness, the bad teams are going to be
Oh my
horrible. The
God.
Athletics, the White Sox,
Oh.
the Rockies are going to be as
Aaron.
bad as advertised.
The Reds cost me $10. The A's made me 10. So,
Oh man,
just literally
oh
pick
man.
against the Athletics. You will probably I
Yeah.
limit the amount of like monopoly gambling money advice that we give,
Right.
but that one is about as good of an advice as I can give you probably. Is if you just go against the Athletics this year, you're probably fine.
They're so bad. Like
Yeah.
they're so bad.
But the thing is, I can't enjoy that
no, it's
because it's the stupid
Yes.
owners.
right.
So like it actually makes me furious.
Mm-hmm.
like in reality. It's been going on so long that I've tried to not get mad about it every time I think. And they were did you see they were boycotting the parking lot?
Like 13,000 people total.
Which is great. Like, don't go in. Don't give them money.
Mhm.
Go to the parking lot.
And I feel bad for the fans because truly they have like a legitimate fan base. That's
it's nothing to do with the fans.
It's a city that doesn't want them, and it's so sad.
It's really sad. Yeah, and the owner sucks.
Yeah, owner sucks.
Terrible.
City wants to put in a port for like shipping, which I suppose improves the economy.
Owners shouldn't have to. Owners should no longer be able to charge the city. The city should no longer have to pay for these stadiums. This is ridiculous. Even like Kansas City. Well, if you don't give us our $800 million, we might leave. Yeah, right. The Chiefs are leaving Kansas City. I'd call their bluff.
Oh yeah.
Say you're not leaving. The NFL won't let you leave.
Hey Goodell. Hey Goodell. Give us another team. Yeah.
Like there's no way, especially because St. Louis left that region. Like even more so. Like the Chiefs have too much history. St. Louis left the area. There is no. Also, where are you going?
Yeah.
Like, where on earth at this point would you be going for the NFL? Like, within the U.S.
Right.
Like, there's nowhere to go.
Dallas Part 2.
All right. I'm going to hit record so that way this conversation...
You're pulling for it.
Yeah, that way we can use it in our show.
Oh, I use this. This is good. This is good stuff to use. Hold on. Hold on. I don't even know if I'm recording correctly.
I'm recording now.
I'm recording
and
as well.
It is tracking me and we are good.
Elgato. Perfect. I'm in as well.
All right. I'll get it started. And then, like, I wrote down stuff in the show notes, but we can just bounce around to whatever, obviously. Welcome to the show. It is, as Josh likes to say, the year of our Lord 2024, but the month of our Lord of 2024, and that is April. It's April 1st. That's the day we're recording on. So what does that mean?
That's not a joke.
That's not a joke, but it does mean that I've scrolled Twitter a little bit today, and I don't know what's real. And I hate it. I hate it. And here's what I especially hate. There are college football teams posting legitimate graphics, and by legitimate, I mean they look real, of like uniform reveals. So like Utah State posted a picture of a helmet design that has like it's like cow print on their helmet. And that's incredible. That should be real. Our good friends at Miami posted a picture of black alternate uniforms. I don't know if they're real. They should be. I'm not going to straight to jail them because we love them, but I'll straight to jail April Fool's Day, just right off the top of the show here.
Oh, those are amazing.
Yeah. See?
The cow ones.
Yes.
Utah State.
No, it cannot, and this is what I will maintain. It cannot be considered an April Fool's joke in its true traditional form if it's a legitimately good idea that you're too lazy or too cowardly to actually put in place.
Hold on, though. I think last year, Western Kentucky, I think it was an April Fool's joke originally, those helmets, Aaron. And I think everybody loved them so much that they did make them real.
Yeah.
So there is a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
There's a chance that these could end up being real. I hope so. Those cow print, those are awesome.
It's unbelievable.
Those are really cool.
I'm not going to straight to jail the teams because I said, like, Miami, they're our friends. I'm not going to put them in jail. Utah State, I like them a lot. I have no beef with them. I think I really get it. Beef. That was a good one. Pat myself on the back for that one. Thank you. What was I saying? I am dumb.
You hate April Fools.
Yes, thank you. Yes, that's the source. Because all these teams are leaning into the holiday, if you want to call it that. And they're getting clicks. Good for them. They're like, these schools are doing the right things, right? They're getting noticed. They're getting the clicks. They're taking advantage of the day. The day is just stupid, and it's not because I've like been tricked a bunch. Like I just know when the day, I just assume nothing is real.
Mm-hmm.
What is real, however, is that the Chicago White Sox. We were talking about this a little bit before we started the show. The Chicago White Sox are terrible.
Oh.
Terrible. They are so bad that their first base coach forgot to come out for the bottom of the 8th inning. So they had to wait on the first base coach to get down to first base, bottom of the 8th. They were already trailing 9-0. They did not score today. They are 0-4, I believe. The Athletics are terrible. The Rockies are terrible. And, you know, the interesting thing is all these three teams, like sometimes it's kind of funny when a team is really bad. Like, I'll be honest, the New York Jets and football being as bad as they were is kind of funny.
Hilarious.
Unless, obviously, if you're a fan
hilarious.
of the Jets, okay, different conversation, obviously.
Yeah.
But
That
was
when you
hilarious.
get a guy like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you're asking for it.
Watching the Dallas Cowboys downfall is hilarious. Watching,
so funny.
But I feel no joy in any of those three teams being as bad as they are. But they're just terrible.
I don't know. For some reason, the White Sox is kind of funny.
I would agree.
Jets energy.
Yeah, I would agree. Of the three options, yes.
They also have another terrible owner. I mean, that's basically the common denominator, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
ironically,
the Rockies
the
Rockies have actually
the Rockies,
spent money.
that's not true.
It's
Yeah.
bad management, I would say.
I feel like the Clippers, I always get a lot of joy out of that too.
I would
and
agree
that
with
makes no sense.
No.
They've literally never done anything to any of my teams. They've never done anything of consequence.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I get a crack out of it. Like, it's kind of like the Cowboys and Jets of there's so much talk.
Mhm.
And then they also they fail in the most anticlimactic, worst way possible. We're talking George Paul throwing that 3-pointer off the side of the hoop. It's good. It's good stuff. Americans like a good downfall story as much as they like an underdog.
Yes, they do. We are sick people. That's really what it is. Speaking of sick, I think the Reds are going to give me heart issues this year. If the first 3 games of the season are any indication, they are. I was watching this yesterday, and they're down 5-3. They're literally down to their last strike. Jonathan India works a 10-pitch, I think it was a double. And then you had Will Benson hits a home run to tie the game. Then you had Christian Encarnacion Strand, who had started the year 0 for 11. He hits a home run. The Reds win 6-5 to avoid embarrassment. No, I think the Nationals are going to be better than they were last year and certainly the last couple of years. However, if you are the Reds, and we've talked about this team quite a bit because it's all of our kind of collective favorite teams, with so much expectation, and then your very first series, you blow multiple leads, your bullpen that you've bolstered this offseason has not looked good. A 1-2 start to the year, heading into a road series against the Phillies, that was going to feel very bad. And now you're 2-1, and I know the Reds are trailing early to the Phillies, but my weekend was helped out by the fact that the Reds won the series down to their last strike. If they lost, I would have been sounding the panic alarms already. As it's the same thing as overreacting to week 1 in the NFL. It's overreacting to the opening series of baseball. The Astros are going 0-162.
Yes, they are.
Yes, please.
Yes,
please,
they
please.
are.
You know who else? And I just want to say this real quick because I don't know how they're going to be, but I did put them on my list of who I'm lightly following back 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you the first post Shohei Ohtani Angels.
Oh boy.
This is the first inning of the first game they played at the Orioles. I'm not going to tell you the score yet if you don't know. First up, Rendon struck out swinging. Hicks strung out swinging. Trout homeward to center, 402 feet. Ward popped off the first.
Mm-hmm.
And then nothing else happens, and they lost 11-3.
Yep.
Thank goodness Ohtani got out of there. Thank goodness. Because the only difference would be there'd be 2 home runs.
Yeah, I was gonna say they would have. Yeah, they would have lost. They would have
difference.
lost 5-11 for $700 million.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I had to scroll all the way down to the 8th.
Oh yeah, because that was opening day, right? That's like the first.
Two scores on errors. That's the only reason. At the top of the 8th. Congratulations, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers are doing just fine. Don't worry about them.
Yeah.
That was a stupid call.
Mm-hmm.
It was vindicated. So we're good now.
Yeah.
Also, again, actually, I am going to send someone to jail.
Okay,
Two people specifically.
Do it.
One, the Fanatics CEO or whoever designed the national championship banner.
Oh.
Was it Fanatics?
It had to
I
have
hope
been.
not. It has to be because there's no other way.
Yeah.
There's no, because if you've been to Globe Life Field, they have a section, and I forget specifically where it is, but they have a section like most ballparks where they have a nice installation of all the pennants. And so it's built into like in between like the, the B and C deck. And so it's this nice, very installed thing. And it's not there yet. So my guess is they're going to put it there. There's a slot for like, hey, World Series. And this is like a temporary thing. I hope so, because I went to a small college of under 5,000 people, and we had a much better graphic design team than what was the equivalent of a screen printed t-shirt that you get on Fanatics.
Have you guys seen the Yankees road uniforms? Because they've been playing that series in Houston.
Wait, the ones that are kind of white, kind of gray? Or is that a different one?
It's more so
Is
that
it eggshell white, Josh?
No, so these would be the road gray uniforms. It's more so that if you sweat at any point, it's just immediately visible. It's just awful.
But Aaron, did you hear the Fanatics CEO?
He was happy. The problem
wasn't the product. The problem was they didn't get everyone on board at the beginning. That's the problem.
So that's why the St. Louis Cardinals baby blue uniforms still haven't arrived. Is that what I'm understanding?
They aren't on the program. They didn't. They didn't.
If
ask
all the
for
players
expedited shipping.
Yeah. If all the players had been on board, it'd be fine.
It'd be fine. When Fanatics ships the players their uniforms to their individual houses, they must select. I want to be on board. Otherwise, the default is bad shipping. So that's on them. The default is 4 to 8 months. The default is maybe by October.
Yeah.
Maybe by October.
Sounds like I'm getting my jerseys on DHgate, which I would never do, obviously.
No.
Oh boy. All right. So yeah, there's your baseball update from the opening week. By the way, that kind of sums up how my week went. I think it was like a really good week overall. Like Easter was great, really good time with family and celebrating and all the things that go into Easter as a big blessing. But like just good basketball, good baseball, obviously for a sports fanatic like me, that just makes my heart happy. Speaking of basketball, we should probably get into it because we do have our Final Four teams, and it is just exactly the teams that we all expected at the beginning of this.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt.
We were Purdue on it from the beginning. Purdue, UConn, easy. And then Alabama and North Carolina State. The Wolfpack have won 9 do-or-die games in a row to get to this point.
Amazing.
For those that either didn't watch it initially or have forgotten, North Carolina State had to bank in a 3 against Virginia to tie the game and then win in overtime and then play 2 more games in the ACC title game and then win 4 games in the NCAA tournament.
And Virginia made like 15 free throws in that game too. That same game they banked in that 3.
Oh, man.
They make one more free throw and they lose.
I mean, this is one of the most, maybe the best tournament run we've ever seen from any team. Now, we've had teams like George Mason in the past like make all these really big runs, and I'm not trying to overshadow them by any means. But in a way, this is more impressive. Even though it's NC State, I know they're a Power 5 team, if you want to phrase it like that. But to win 5 games in 5 days and then to do what they've done here as an 11 seed is ridiculous. Now, will Purdue beat them? I would say yes, but I also, who am I to say anything? Because NC State's in the Final Four.
3.
Yep. So crazy. Those are your matchups. UConn's taking on Alabama, and then Purdue. Actually, I don't know what order it's in, but Purdue, NC State. That's the other matchup. So, guys, thoughts on the Final Four games from the Sweet 16, Elite 8? I mean, this is truly wild.
I'm so happy that Duke is out. I'm so glad that NC State got some validation. Hate that Alabama's in.
That's the only one. They're the only one, Josh, and they're facing the Death Star. In UConn. That 30-0 run, most of the time, if you were to say, like, how was the game? Well, they lost by 30 points. Most of the time you'd say, that was a really boring game.
Yeah.
It was close at halftime, and I could not take my eyes off the television as the 30-point run is happening, because I'm just staring in awe and watching Illinois' just complete psychological breakdown, live. I don't think you usually get to witness that. And Brad Underwood couldn't stop it. The man called timeouts. It's not like he just let his team just suffer. He He did everything he
Oh,
could.
my
I don't know what
goodness.
you do as a coach in that situation. Like
Yeah.
it literally a Death Star moment where like UConn played with their food for a half and then they turned it on and it's like, oh, and the TBS guys, Charles Barkley and all the Ernie Johnson, all those guys, they said at half, they're like, you can't hold UConn to 25 points and be losing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a half. Like you not only should you be up, you probably need to be up 10 right now. And they were not wrong. So when Klingham's on like that,
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what you do. Like I really truly do not know what you do when Klingham's on. Like a lot of UConn's losses, they have 3 losses, I believe. Like those happened with like Klingham's like hurt early in the season. Like when Seton Hall beat him, like he's not healthy. When he's playing that well, I truly just, what is the answer? And Illinois has enormous size on that team.
Yeah.
They're a really tall team with not traditional point guards, like really kind of forward size guys handling the ball. And that was crazy. Like UConn didn't even shoot the ball well in that game. Like that's my main takeaway. I'm just like, oh dear God, can anybody, and Alabama,
No one's gotten
it'll be
close.
an interesting, what? Oh yeah. Can anybody get close? They're winning what on average these games by 25 points or something.
And I think if you go back to last year's tournament, which obviously they won the whole thing,
yeah,
I think they have a streak going of double-digit wins. I don't think any team in this stretch has even made it a single-digit game.
yeah, Alabama's interesting. I don't also like it. It might be a moot point. Like who cares? Like UConn's won it all, and that's fine. I will say, like, if anybody has a chance, it probably is a team like Alabama, just because Alabama can get on these shooting streaks that are absurd, and they run and run and run and get out on the fast break, and they're analytics based with Nate Oates, and they just get up as many shots as they can. And if they're not in the paint, they're past the 3-point line shooting everything. It's either a layup or a 3. And Mark Sears is a fantastic point guard. Like if anyone can, it's Alabama. But Castle and Newton are too good defensively, I feel like, for Sears to get going. One of the things I'm yelling, I mean, obviously I picked North Carolina to make the Final Four and Alabama beat them. I'm yelling at the screen to make him go to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, North Carolina just let him go left. They kept letting it, like he clearly wanted to. And they just kept letting him go to the direction he wanted. It was madness. But anyway, like that's the thing about UConn. Like their defense is actually better than the offense. So I don't know. Do you guys see anybody challenging UConn? I mean, Alabama might lose by single digits. That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if they have an off shooting day, they could lose by 30. Like,
I mean, Purdue, just because they have Edey, like just that matchup with Klingon, is the only way I see UConn not winning a title. But even then, let's say, and I don't know if this is true or not, let's say Edey and Klingon kind of negate one another, which I think they kind of would. At that point, you're left with the guards and other players for UConn versus the guards and other players for Purdue. Yeah. It's not even close.
That's it.
It's not even close. So unless Purdue just shoots the lights out and has the best shooting performance of the tournament, which the way UConn's been playing defense, good luck with that. Right now, again, we're very dumb. You've heard our picks. They were very wrong. Yours were too. Don't sit there, listen, and pretend like
your picks were bad too. Yeah, all right.
We know they were.
You know what I saw this week?
Josh, we got half, 50%. That's batting average. Okay. That's outstanding.
If I was batting 500, I'd have seven financial advisors illegally gambling my money. That's how legendary I'd be.
Yep.
Yes.
Real quick, by the way, I just want to say, speaking of like way over, this was as a few days ago, so I think it was. This is accurate as to the Sweet 16 or to the Elite Eight. There was a mother who let her newborn baby, pick the bracket, and the kid kicked a left leg or a right leg, depending on. She was in the 99.7th percentile.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
There's no wrong way
to
pick a bracket.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh,
so all your stats. I got I went to a barber shop on Saturday and we were just talking about how bad our brackets were.
Yep.
Like what are we even doing here? I'm not going to use like away and neutral site wins and losses. I'm not going to use like those indexes of who's good or bad.
Well,
Vibes.
You know, the
only
funny
from now
thing
on.
is, because anyone that has a good bracket, are you even allowed to brag?
No.
Because you probably just
brag.
guessed. Like, I guess you can brag.
Yeah,
like, why not? You're in first. Like,
You
go
can
for
cheer.
it.
I mean, you can cheer and be
Yeah.
happy about it.
But
like,
can you really go
you
like,
can be
oh, I've got a
excited.
98.2% bracket? Like, can you do that?
No,
I don't know if you can.
You didn't.
No.
No, it's like you didn't
because you
earn
didn't
it.
know.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, Josh, you're right. You didn't earn it. You didn't know. There's not like, unless you can show me some analytic stat that you're like, this is how I pick my bracket, and therefore
It's like a
these were
guy
my final
bragging.
14.
Yeah, it's like a guy bragging that he's good at slots. Like, no, you're really good at hitting the button.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yes. Josh, do we have an update from the chess Final Four in Dallas?
Speaking of how bad we are at picks, you know who won, Johnny? Missouri.
The one team we didn't pick.
The one team we didn't.
Oh,
So we had a last minute emergency on Thursday. I was not able to head out. Like it happens right at 2, and I'm like, well, okay, never mind.
that's literally the only normal school that showed up and they won. That I hate that.
Normal schools shouldn't be good at things.
I hate that. I wanted the school that didn't exist to win, and I didn't even pick them.
Yeah. The wild thing is, apparently, and Sicko's committee, by the way, Josh, I know you weren't there, but Sicko's committee had us covered.
They were there
on this event.
Yeah.
They were there. They somehow obtained kind of the list of chess players, and I think all teams except Missouri had reserves, which I don't fully understand what that means. I guess if someone like wakes up,
you go in like stations, and it's
but
all
Missouri
If
just
you get hurt.
your
Mentally.
brain, you could fry your brain. I don't know.
They've said like certain chess grandmasters will burn like 5,000 to 6,000 calories over like a long weekend with these things.
Yeah,
it's stressful.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, Missouri just rolled in with 4 grandmasters, not a single reserve, and just kicked everyone's butt. And I'm like, that. You know what? None of us picked them.
We
but I've
should've
got
checked.
a ton of respect for that. There
was no way
incredible.
we would have been able to check that information, but if we did, we still would have gone off of our vibes.
Vibes only.
But congratulations, the state of Missouri, I suppose, since that's your main one.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be good at chess.
Yep.
Or Missouri State, sorry.
Yeah.
Or no, is it? Yeah.
No, it was
Missouri State.
Missouri, the Tigers.
It was
Go
Missouri.
Tigers.
Oh wow.
That's my point. It's the main Missouri. You can't
Mhm.
do that. It's not
Can't
even a
do that.
satellite campus.
Yeah. By the way, one other event that's happening right now, literally live, is LSU Iowa women's basketball. Iowa off to a hot
Why are we recording right now instead
You know,
of watching that?
That's a fair point, but
I'm gonna see if I have a
Aaron-
second screen here. I'm gonna see if I can just secretly,
oh yeah.
quietly
Not
stream it on the
trying-
side.
Not trying to stir the pot. Is anyone cheering for LSU
No.
other than LSU fans?
No.
Like that's not even me putting my personal really statement out there. Is anyone else cheering for LSU?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
I can't understand why anybody really would be cheering for LSU. Like, also that Kim Mulkey story ended up being a nothing burger. That was a
Oh,
dud.
so disappointing.
Like,
Mm.
yeah, I like hyped up
Well,
to be nothing.
we know that we broke the real story last week. If you missed
Right.
it, she's part of a huge olive oil conspiracy. If you
Mm.
want to know
She is the
more,
olive
check
oil.
out last episode. Skip to like an hour and 20 minutes into the last week's show. Yeah. The other game happening tonight is USC UConn, which is very interesting as well on the women's
Another
side.
very good game.
Yep.
You should watch that game
Mhm.
if you're able, because that might not be as well known of players. Also, fantastic teams.
Yeah. I mean, it's the women's tournament, ironically, outside of NC State with this miraculous run, in a way, the women's tournament actually had more upsets, at least depending on when you kind of draw that line. They had some more, like
Right.
Stanford got knocked out, the Sweet 16. I mean, the main ones are there.
Just
Like
not
South
first
Carolina is
round.
not going anywhere, but,
Right.
and
Women just still don't have those first round upsets. Like that first weekend's not as good. Like Ohio State got beat in the second round.
right.
That was a pretty big upset, but like a 6 beating. But a big upset in the women's game right now is still like Duke beat Ohio State. You're like, okay, like it's an upset technically
Yep.
by the seeds, but you're not getting a George Mason or a VCU or
Right.
you like the women's game still hasn't created the depth yet. It'll get there. It'll get there. It just right now there's not. But because previously it was like 6 teams fighting for the title every year. So what you have this year, to your point, Aaron,
Right.
past the first weekend, craziness.
Mhm.
Like, and who's getting through?
Yep.
Even though you see like your typical schools like UConn and South Carolina, and what a night NC State had. The women
Yeah.
also made the Final Four yesterday.
Oh, man.
I
Yes.
mean, what a great day to be a Wolfpack
Yep.
fan. I mean, that's got to be up there as like one of the best days ever of being a fan of that university. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Works
great
out.
on you guys. I hope you're
Good job.
enjoying that.
Yeah, no hate towards NC State.
Yeah.
No, I hope they're enjoying that. That's awesome.
And it's truly a really good time for the women's tournament to have this. I mean, any time is a good time for the women's tournament to be popular. But you've heard today a lot of NBA scouts are being interviewed and they're saying, yeah, this draft class sucks.
Yeah.
So that's helped. It's not that there's no stars in college basketball. Obviously, we've seen some really, really good performances. Zach Edey, career high yesterday as we're recording. DJ Burns, we all know what he's been doing. But I think it has been helpful. Even DJ Burns, I think, has become a household name really because of the NCAA tournament. And you're seeing that same kind of thing happen with the women's tournament. So it's great timing for them. Like, not only do they have a ton of teams that are like super interesting, very competitive games, but it has worked out timing wise in the men's game where there's some room, there's some bandwidth in people's brains on their feeds, whatever that looks like, for the women to shine. And that's obviously a really, really good thing. So that's where we're at with college basketball. We'll break down our actual picks in a moment. But first, we talked about an NFL rule last week. We yelled, we got angry. We got another NFL rule this week to talk about. It kind of broke, I think, maybe even after we got done recording. But there is a big, major change to the kickoff in the NFL.
Oh,
Now,
yeah, we got to talk
we
about this.
yelled and screamed about the first rule, and I think for good reason. Guys, I actually think the kickoff rule, I think it's going to be totally fine. I think it's going to feel weird, but I think it's good. Because basically the kickoff is non-existent anymore. How often do you actually see a kickoff? And now you add a kind of unique play that we'll see how it plays out, but you at least have an opportunity for some strategy by these NFL teams. So I'll pull up the exact rule because it's kind of weird, but it kind of debuted in the XFL. So shout out XFL for giving us a rule. But guys, I'm just curious your thoughts on this new format for kickoffs.
Yeah, so I've seen this. I've seen some XFL games where this was done, and I think it is the rules are very complicated. I saw them. I do not understand them. The Dallas Cowboys actually explain it pretty well in one of their press releases. They say that essentially no players from the kicking team can move until the ball is either touched by the returner or hits the ground. They are stationary until one of those two things occur. And so what it has looked like is you have like more or less like just an extended run into like defenders from the receiving end, and like it's not what we would have come to expect a classic football kickoff to look like, but it is not just a touchback every single time. And so it looks more interesting. It looks like there's some other nuances within that rule. That was a very oversimplified version, but there are some nuances of the rule where there could actually be some very interesting strategy implications. So I think it's going to make the game interesting. And I'm going to keep an open mind for it. I think it could be very well utilized.
I'm totally with you, you as well, Josh. It's not my preference,
of course,
aesthetically, what we grew up with. I love the original kickoff. You know, like there's something about that just screams football. You know, we grew up like Ohio State fans watching Ted Ginn like break the NCAA record. We were watching like Joshua Cribbs if you're a Browns fan, or Devin Hester if you're a Bears fan, like just having these crazy returns. Like that's what we're used to. But one of the biggest plays of football that causes the most head injuries is the kickoff. And That's the whole reason behind all of this. So for all of you screaming and yelling, you don't have to agree, but you do need to understand, like, while the NFL, it's more probably about not getting sued, it is about protecting the players. So while it's not maybe my favorite thing, they shrink the distance between the defenders, like as far as the return team and the kickoff covering team. So you're not getting that massive running start like in a traditional like kickoff. So that impact should be much less. That's also what they're doing with not allowing you to run after the return man until he's touched the ball. Hey, like what you said, Josh, right now it's currently a touchback like 90% of the time, I think.
It's an extra commercial break before the actual football begins again.
So if this actually creates strategy, like you mentioned, some nuance, like I need to actually pay attention and see what's going on, then it's great. Just like when they moved back the extra point. Like growing up, I started that's when you go to the bathroom. They scored the touchdown, go ahead.
Yeah.
Like they're going to make the extra point 99% of the time. So moving it back, at first I was even like, I don't really know. It's great. It's been awesome. It's made that more entertaining, that part of football. So I'll keep an open mind. It's probably going to freak me out a little bit when the season starts, just seeing it on television. But I think like, while it might not be my ideal, it's much better than what we have currently. So, and they even said, I think like this is a 1-year trial. It's not even like set in stone that we're going to keep this. So it'll be interesting. I'm curious to watch it.
Yeah.
I know college football is talking about looking at it too.
Yeah. I think it'll probably, I mean, I could see 2025 season where this gets maybe this year. It seems a little quick, but probably 2025. Yeah. I mean, if anything, I think it'll, like, I don't typically watch a ton of preseason football, but I'm definitely going to tune in. Like, I'll tune in anyways to see like new rookies and stuff, but I'll tune in just to see like, whoa, what does this look like? But yeah, I'm with you guys. I think it's good. Like, would I love to see in theory just a normal kickoff where you don't see guys just hurt all the time? Yeah, but we're past that point. It's never going to happen. So let's find a way to make the game more interesting. This adds an emphasis on special teams, which I think is great because the kickoff was basically non-existent because, like, look, the matter of fact, like, kickers and punters are just getting better, right? Like, we're seeing records being broken. We're seeing guys with bigger and bigger legs that are able to punt the ball super far, which is great. And so let's add some nuance to it. Let's add even more of a kind of a potential skill gap, so you can see these guys really shine. Because you'll hear every coach say it. There's 3 parts to a football game, and now this third part's going to mean a little bit more, which I think is good. I think it'll be good.
I mean, Aaron, to your point with the talent, I think it was in a UFL. It's UFL now, right?
Oh,
like the new USFL, XFL, like. A guy who basically hadn't kicked since high school made a 64-yard field goal.
Yep.
And okay, you don't know if he can do that consistently, but
fact that he did it,
like,
man,
yeah, there's more talent than ever in all areas of the field, including those special teams guys.
Yeah,
like
because to show you kicking is super easy. Anyone can do it.
Yeah, you're right, Josh. Anyone could do it.
Yeah. On that subject,
McAfee college game days, I'm like, kicking is so easy.
Yeah, exactly. On that subject, I don't know if you guys have seen this. Also in the UFL, there's a YouTuber who's like very, very popular on YouTube, but he made a UFL team, and I don't think he had a chance to kick any field goals or extra points, but like was hitting kickoffs a long, long way. And if you remember, he was the guy that way back when was on UCF as their kicker. And this was back before NIL. And basically the NCAA told him, hey, you either are going to continue to play college football and shut down your YouTube account, or you can keep doing YouTube, but you're not eligible for college football. And those were the only 2 options they gave. He chose probably correctly to pursue YouTube. He's got millions and millions of subscribers. Destroying, I think, is his name on YouTube. And so, but it's been cool because he's now, fast forward, you've got NIL, you've got all this stuff like that shouldn't in theory be a thing anymore. Like you've got Jared McCain for Duke, having an NIL deal for nails, which is pretty wild. And now you've got Destroying, who is now on his YouTube channel documenting the exact process of how he made the team, his training. Like sports are in just a wild place. But it's pretty just his story specifically to see how far we've come in the last 10 years with that kind of thing. But wild. All right. Well, we told you that our picks were terrible. Let's talk about it. Picks of the week. It is our current standings. I think I'm going to start with current standings and then we'll explain how we got there. Johnny has 10 points. I've got 7 points. Josh has 6. So Johnny has extended his lead towards the footlong cookie here in season 1 of the podcast. Now, here's why. We've got a lot of things to unpack from last week. We talked about chess. Missouri won the chess tournament. None of us got that right. We also picked last week the CBI tournament. Seattle won the CBI. Josh, well done.
So close.
That was really close.
Yeah, you guys met in the championship.
That was scary.
My team, Arkansas State, narrowly lost to High Point. So I did not get any points. So Josh, well done there. And then we also had points like 3 episodes ago based on the Final Four teams. Josh got 1, I believe, because you had UConn, or did you have Purdue? I think you had Purdue. Yeah, that's right. I just had UConn. Auburn, yeah, that's right. I had UConn. That's it. And Johnny had both UConn and Purdue. So he got 2 points there. So that's what has our scoreboard at Johnny 10, myself with 7, Josh with 6. This week, we are picking the Oklahoma City Thunder at the Boston Celtics on Wednesday. Now, why are we picking a random NBA game? Well, for one, we're only 2 weeks away from the 2024 play-in tournament. The other reason why we're picking this specific game is because this is a potential look at the number 1 seed in the East versus the number 1 seed in the West. In fact, when they meet on Wednesday, that's probably where they are going to be in the standings. The Celtics have already claimed the top seed in the East, so that's a done deal. The Thunder are competing with a couple teams. The defending champion Denver Nuggets are up there. But this could be a little NBA Finals preview if you believe that strongly about the Thunder. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks. So I am going to say that the Thunder win this game. And the reason is because even though this game's being played at Boston, the Celtics have been, for the most part, utterly dominant at TD Garden. The Thunder do, in theory, have a little bit more to play for here. They are still playing for the number 1 seed in the West. Now, how much does that really matter? It really probably depends on what team you face. I think if you got to choose which team you faced as the 1 seed, we'd be having a different discussion. But I'm going to say the Thunder claim this game. The Celtics are obviously not trying to lose, but they're also not trying to just throw everyone out there. And when they really don't have a lot to play for at this point, they've kind of got everything wrapped up. I think they've even got the number 1 overall seed. If it comes, home court advantage in the NBA Finals, if it comes to that, I think that's pretty much in their favor. I'll pull up the standings and make sure I'm not just spewing blasphemy there. But I'm going to say the Thunder, just to be different.
Oh, Josh, are you muted?
Oh, hey, I'm muted. I'm going Celtics. I do not have, for some reason, the Thunder is just throwing me a weird vibe tonight. I don't know why. I don't know if just because it's cloudy outside.
I know why, because we're all getting tornadoes in the next 24 hours.
To be fair, we did get issued a tornado watch until 9 p.m. tonight.
You too, Josh?
Yeah. So man. I'm honestly just not big on Thunder. Thank you. I'm wondered why. I'm like, why? It's like the snake's gone. He's been gone for years. I'm like, why do I have like this ill feeling? And it's because the Thunder's attacking me tonight and attacking you guys tomorrow night. So I can't in good conscience pick towards such an antagonistic weather pattern.
I'm picking Boston pretty much for all the reasons Aaron said. They're really great at home. They're the best regular season team. Really, I would argue the last 3 years in the NBA, they've been the best regular season team.
Yeah.
Unless it's close. If I could actually hedge my bet, if that was allowed, which is not. But they are, I just want to say this, though. Boston is terrible in tight games. That is their biggest flaw going into the playoffs. And I would argue if Boston doesn't at least make the finals, this year's an utter failure. It just is. Fair or unfair, it's an utter failure if Boston doesn't at least make it through the East. They have no major obstacles in their path. Milwaukee has really struggled to get it together. The Cavs are starting to fall apart. New York just doesn't have the roster really to beat Boston. Like Boston's 6th and 7th guys are starters on almost any other team.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for them to not at least, you lose in 6 to the Nuggets or something in the finals, and it's kind of whatever. But they're really bad even in the regular season and tight games. They go ISO, and Tatum is not clutch. Like I hate being that guy because that feels like very like
Skip
Twitter,
Bayless-y.
like Skip Bayless-y. Like he's not good. Like the Celtics are awful in clutch points. Like if you look up the stats for like good teams, they're terrible. And that's super concerning going into the playoffs. We're just picking this game right now, but what Aaron said, we're getting a home stretch to the regular season. So like you start thinking in that way, like I'm concerned. Like Boston, you don't want to play a team like Miami because they are the most confident team, probably in one of the most in the entire league, because they know who they are. They know exactly what they're doing down the stretch. And in those tight moments, they're loose and relaxed. And it just feels like Boston shrinks and just gets really tight, and they go away like what has made them good and what's gotten them there and moving the ball. And Tatum isn't assertive enough in demanding that shot. So Jaylen Brown gets it half the time too. And so all that to say, like I'm picking Boston, but we're saying they're running away with like the top seed in the East and like easily the number 1 like seed overall. It's no sure thing that they make it to the finals if they get caught in a tight series, just because of those concerns. I'm really concerned. Doesn't mean they can't, but they haven't yet.
And if you look at the standings, there's a very, very real possibility that they meet up with either the Miami Heat or the Philadelphia 76ers in their first round. Now, they've completely destroyed the 76ers historically the last few years. And Joel Embiid is just now returning for the Sixers. Like, I don't think that team's really going anywhere.
They want the Sixers desperately.
Yeah, I think of those two, you certainly want to stay away from the Heat. Yeah, no doubt. Because right now, the play-in tournament seeds, if you will, the Miami Heat are 7. They're actually almost tied with the Pacers. The 76ers are 8th. Then further down, you've got the Chicago Bulls, the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, the play-in tournament is interesting. Like, all it takes is one of those teams winning 2 games to become the 7 or 8 seed. But it also takes the Miami Heat or Philadelphia 76ers losing 2 games to get knocked out if the seeds hold. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. The other really interesting piece is over in the West, yes, you have a logjam at the top. I mentioned it. The Thunder, the Nuggets, the Minnesota Timberwolves are also right there. They all have either 22 or 23 losses. So they're all within a game of each other. But how about the teams that are in the current play-in tournament right now? The season ended. The 7 right now, 7 seed in the West, and that's where the cutoff is, the Sacramento Kings. Number 8, the Phoenix Suns. Did we tell you or did we not tell you? Hint, we told you they would not do well. They are the 8 seed, 43-31.
I love it.
Just behind them, 9 seed Los Angeles Lakers, 10 seed Golden State Warriors. And again,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they've had their each of those teams have had their well-documented struggles. But I repeat, I think the Thunder are insanely talented. I love that team. They're very, very young. They're only getting better. They still have a ton of draft picks, which means they're either going to get a few more I shouldn't say stars, but a few more young pieces to plug in, or they are well equipped with the necessary pieces to make a big trade if that works out in their favor. But again,
they also have the worst commercial in NCAA basketball.
Boy. Yeah. It's bad. But again, the Lakers in a playoff series with LeBron, the Warriors in a playoff series with Steph, and with guys that have done it. Do not hear me say the Lakers are making a run to the title. Do not hear me say the Warriors are making a run to the title. They are not. However, are they capable enough to beat a 1 seed Oklahoma City team? Yes. Mm-hmm. Not a 2 seed Denver team.
Minnesota, though.
But Minnesota at 3? Yeah, I think so. Until Oklahoma City or Minnesota proves they can do it, I'm just saying, dangerous situation for those teams. Not that I'm going to be shocked if they win. I'm not even necessarily calling the upset, but Thunder, Lakers, that could go 7.
Hmm.
And that'd actually be kind of great if it did.
Veteran teams win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're just saying, could they win the first round of series? That's all.
That's all I'm saying. By the way, the Houston Rockets just had a 9-game win streak snapped. So
crazy.
But they're right there as well.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe
they're 2 games over 500. Good for them.
It.
Yep.
Which is what I will say this, like, everybody is also like, wow, the Lakers have had such a terrible year. Or, yeah, the Warriors have had such a terrible year. And it hasn't been a banner year by any, any way you look at it. It hasn't been as bad as you would think based on that seed line. That's just also how low the West is. It's like the teams are taking turns, like the Rockets having that 8-game winning streak, and then they'll lose 2. And, you're just reshuffling the bottom half there and recycling all those teams where for some reason it's always in the East. It's like you really could cut the playoffs off at 6 and be done.
Yeah.
In the West, you could go to 10 every year. I don't know why. I can't explain why, but it's always been that way. I don't know.
And it's literally true this year because the Lakers would be the 6th seed in the East. They wouldn't even be in the play-in tournament discussion. And if the season ended today, they lose once and they're done. Same with Golden State. Well, not same as in they'd be the 6th seed, but same as in they're in a precarious situation. Josh, the Mavericks have won 7 in a row, so they were trending in that play-in zone, and now they're the 5 seed right now, tied with New Orleans. So that's pretty exciting.
Like this,
yeah.
Luka,
my,
and Irving trying to figuring it out, just a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll take it if they get hot now and never again. It's okay.
Yeah,
you just need a little bit longer.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll obviously talk more when we know the matchups here.
Stars clinched. It's a good time to be a Dallas fan.
That's
Stars
true.
clinched. They were 1 seed. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Cowboys, please be worse actually this year. I think it'd be really funny.
Yep.
It'd be really funny if the Stars won both in the 90s and now.
You don't want the Cowboys to just be awful though. Like that's why they're funny.
I want them
they're funny because they always
Thank you, Johnny.
Wow, look what we did.
I want them
we
to
won
be the
8 games in a row
then.
Against utter garbage, but that doesn't matter because we're the Cowboys. And
I want them to blow out Washington again.
Yep. It's the Stephen A. Smith. This is his most accurate take he's ever had. It is just evergreen take. What can go wrong will go wrong with the Dallas Cowboys. When it matters the most, they will fall apart. It might be to clinch a playoff spot. It might be in the first round. It will be anticlimactic, and it will be just a dud.
Whatever benefit of the doubt you have, they will have it exploited catastrophically.
Just all it takes is that little glimmer. They just get a little glimmer of hope and success. And everybody in the national media and all their fans, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. And that's why we all have such a good time with it. That's why I'm laughing now, because who doesn't enjoy the entire national media being wrong constantly?
For the past, I've been alive,
and fair weather fans.
I think since I've been alive, they've not won something, which is fantastic.
It's great.
96, yeah,
and they never need to again, Josh. And they never need to.
Why would you when you already did almost 30 years ago?
It's a bit that truly never gets old.
Oh yeah, if they get to 50. Will anybody be like, oh, the poor Cowboys? I really hope they win this year. No. I hope no one will. No, I could watch Stephen A. Smith's reaction videos of him laughing with pretending to smoke a cigar and in a cowboy hat every year. I could watch that every year, and I will enjoy it every time. Because
you know what happens when teams get on like 50 or 60 year droughts? They get humble.
Right. Cleveland, the Cubs, absolutely. Seattle's
Rangers,
playoff drought, the Mariners.
Yes, exactly. Like the Cowboys will not be deserving
Right.
of pity until they
Yep.
realize that they themselves deserve most of all to be pitied.
Josh,
Wow,
that was outstanding.
That'll preach.
In light of Easter,
There
that
it
was
is.
that is
Mhm.
just out. That's yeah. And the funny thing is, major
Putting that
markets can
master's
do
degree to
it.
work. Yeah.
Like the Knicks, I feel have been extremely humbled by the last few decades of just depravity.
Yeah.
Like I have compared to any other LA or New York team, I think the Knicks might be my most likable team in those, because those fans are awesome, but they're not entitled to success. Mostly because they haven't had it in a long time. But like you said, Josh, they've been humbled. Like they don't see that glimmer of hope and, oh, we're going to win the NBA finals. Like we're better than everyone. Look at what we can do. The Knicks are excited and celebrating every step of the way because they have suffered for a long time, as one would if you were in Cleveland or if you were in Seattle or any of those places previously. How'd we get on that?
I don't know.
That's a good take, though.
Yeah.
That's a good
Dallas. Dallas is doing okay right now
take.
for one day.
Yeah,
Ignore the
they
crash.
all can do a thing except
Yeah.
them. Just
Ignore the
not
crash that happened this morning. With whoever,
Yeah.
the guy who's probably now cut. I've driven on that specific section of road multiple times where he crashed. And it is, first off, the place where everyone street races, and two, the worst place to street race because it literally backs up like with insane traffic in the next quarter mile. Like the next exit down is where the slowdown starts. And I'm like, that is the worst spot.
It's the most dangerous thing ever.
I'm not saying street race because don't. But especially not in that specific area. It's Texas. It's wide open. There's a bunch of abandoned,
right.
freeways like in West. Like you're rich. Go spend some money on gas, and go away from maybe literally the most densely populated part of Dallas. Also, maybe just get away from the most densely population of Dallas anyway. At this
Stop
point.
street racing.
Stop it.
Why is
Also,
that
don't
like
do it-
such a big thing all of a sudden again?
And not at 6:30 in the evening.
What?
That was the
that-
dash cam. It was 6:30.
That's just insane.
like, that's
there's too
stupid.
many Fast and Furious movies. I blame
No,
them.
it was medium to heavy traffic, which is what's always on 75. But like
Yeah, I blame Fast and Furious.
I blame Fast and Furious.
Too many movies. They gotta stop making those movies.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna. Not that I've ever seen a Fast and Furious movie, but it's the same thing at this point. With Wile E. Coyote.
You can't. Then
They're
you've
like
never even.
jumping cars out of one skyscraper into another.
Oh, they're
skyscraper.
ridiculous.
That's
Josh.
they shot a car into space. That's not. No one's being encouraged.
They're
to-
Avengers
to-
with cars.
If
It's
you've
Avengers-
seen
it's
one,
Cars
you've seen
Avengers.
them all. I stick to that. As someone who has only seen half of one, I stick to that.
Which half did you see?
Actually, the first few are more
Fast
about cars
Five?
than the
I said the
last
first-
ones.
Okay.
They were driving
Say-
cars on train tracks, I think. Maybe. Was that a thing
Yeah,
they
I think
did?
that's 5. I think that's Fast 5. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
That's
Again, as
closer
someone
to
who's not seen
reality,
them.
though.
The
Yeah.
first
Just
few are
it's
racing
slightly
focused.
further
then-
and further and further away from reality in each movie.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's like, well, cars go fast. We did that 5 times already. What if we also did Car Go Fast on Railroad, Car Go Fast off of building, Car Go Fast in space. Like, you can do a lot of Car Go Fast in different locations.
They haven't done Cargo Fast underwater yet, have they, Josh?
No, hold on. Let me see. Because they signed like 3
Oh.
more movies. Vin Diesel's like, I'm going to do these until the day I die.
Next one will be underwater. That's me calling it.
Yep. Upcoming Fast and Furious movies. Fast 11, April 4th, 2025.
They could call it Ocean's Fast 11, and it's just,
Ocean's Fast.
and you think it's a spy movie? Nope, it's just taking place in the ocean.
It could also be a spy movie.
Yeah, that's true. It probably that's a good point. It'd
Fast
probably be
cars
both.
and spies.
Yeah.
Oh, those movies are a good time, though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, again, this is surprisingly. Oh, what'd you find, Josh?
Sorry, because it's not Fast 11. It's Fast X Part 2, I believe. No.
Oh, 10.5.
It is technically Fast 11, but it's being built. It's like it was Dune and then Dune Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can call it.
But that
Dune
worked
2,
because
but
it's part 2 of the
technically-
same book.
It's also Part 2 of the same book. And have you not read the great book of Fast and Furious?
The novel series.
Was that not your assigned reading in middle school? It was for me.
Are you telling me that
Great.
you watched the movies before you read the book? How dare you?
No, I'm not gonna read a big campy book. I'm gonna watch some epic like brutalist film where Timothy Chalamet gets to yell in Arabic. Like, yeah, I'll watch that.
I'm calling it Fast 10.5. No one can stop me.
Fast
Yes.
10.5.
Yep.
Yes. Just a patch update. Bug fixes
Yeah.
only.
Yeah, right.
Fast 10.5.
Yep.
Bug fixes and minor improvements.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. All right. Surprisingly, this is not what we're following, but this is.
This.
Now, baseball is great for a variety of different reasons. Opening day, you have all the excitement. Your team starts 0-0, even if you're a fan of a very bad team. Now, the bad news is your team has played some games now, and if you are like the teams that we mentioned earlier, your season is already depressing without too much hope. However, there is hope if you go to a ballpark. Not only is it a great experience that I encourage everyone to take, but there's also new specialty food at maybe your favorite ballpark. So there's a few that I'm going to highlight that kind of debuted on opening day. We'll start with the Chicago White Sox, who have, and by the way, I'll say these, you guys will have to let me know which one you would prefer. And listeners, you too, hit us up on Twitter at Fifth Goal Sports. So the Chicago White Sox have a 16-ounce campfire milkshake. It's topped with graham crackers, marshmallows, and pieces of chocolate. It looks very pretty. This is probably the most appealing visually. Now, the Tigers swept the White Sox, and so they proclaimed that this new milkshake was actually a victory milkshake for the Tigers. So even White Sox baseball is in a way kind of ruining this milkshake, but it looks unbelievable. It looks very, very good. And they've got like the chocolate drizzle down the side of the glass. Like, you're paying how much for this? You're paying a lot of money. I think it's like $15, but it might be worth it. Oh yeah, it is $15. Darren Ravel reporting that. Now,
That's how it works.
New York Mets have a rainbow cookie egg roll, which is, it is as it sounds. It is a rainbow cookie, raspberry jam, and chocolate syrup rolled in an egg roll wrapper. Now, this is very interesting because obviously the way I think of egg rolls, I think of a savory dish. This is not. This is a cookie wrapped in, basically, it's a rainbow cookie with chocolate syrup surrounding it that's been deep fried is really what we're talking about here. So that's pretty good. The New York Mets rolling that out. Now here's one that might be the podcast favorite. The Seattle Mariners have a new food item this season called the Double Mitch Witch, which features two different halves of a sandwich inspired by their players, Mitch Haniger and Mitch Garver. The Haniger half contains grilled chicken breast, marinated tomatoes, bacon, Havarti cheese, and a fried avocado. The Garver side has pulled pork, sliced Black Forest ham, Swiss cheese, mustard, and sliced pickles, and they slap those two halves together. I don't even want to know the calories, but yes, the answer is yes. And the answer is I'd like to try this. I would love to try this. Oh, man.
I had to, just because, check out what the Rangers are introducing this year. They got three things that I think would kill me immediately and every single colonial child. Every little Victorian child would instantly die.
Yes.
First, classic, you know it, you love it, the brisket croissant. Just the croissant stuffed with brisket, drizzled on barbecue sauce. Yummy. I mean, that's it.
Yep.
This one looks fantastic. It's the Milanesa taco. I'm still butchering it, but at least I got all the letters out. It's a flour tortilla filled with chicken fried biscuits, creamy gravy, and chile de arbol sauce. It looks fantastic. And then finally, the Boomstick Burger. And it is a 2-foot-long cheeseburger that looks like it is served smothered in chili, nacho cheese, onion rings, and jalapenos.
Boomstick's right.
And it is $35.
Wow.
Which honestly...
That's not all it cost you.
It costs quite a bit.
Be fighting for your life later.
Gosh.
The Dallas Observer says it feeds 5, and I'm like, sure it does.
Have you lived in America?
Oh boy.
Sure, Jan. Have you seen Texans? Yeah, they'll do
This
just
is where
fine.
the food is where the April Fools got me. Our
Oh,
local team, if you're not familiar, well, I say local. Our hometown team, if you're not familiar, is the Columbus Clippers, AAA affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians. And they tweeted out a new food item this morning, and I believed it at first, as one naturally does, forgets that there's not another day in March, because for some reason I always think there's another day in March. There's not. And they have this jar that they're selling of a new hot dog sundae. And there's a churro stuck in the jar as well.
Yeah. Oh.
And yeah, pretty gullible of me to believe that they're selling that at Huntington Park.
See, but why aren't they?
It looks horrible.
People would buy
you
it.
can do it
but
right.
People would buy
I mean,
it.
They
yes,
would.
You can
They
do it right.
would. They should.
There are
You know what?
places
That should be a sting operation.
Yeah.
If somebody buys that, jail. Like, we're selling this because if you would purchase said item for more than the jar, because the jar honestly looks pretty cool, jail. Like, you get sent to jail. This is my version of a sting operation. We're gonna put crazy people away just because, like, they're a threat to themselves, and not even just society, to themselves. We need to protect them.
You've heard of To Catch a Predator. This is to catch the grossest person alive.
Columbus Clippers, if you're listening, hire us. We'll just stand
Oh.
adjacent to the concession stand and just hand out cards that say, go straight to jail. Because
Yes.
like outside of the four walls of our individual rooms that we're recording in, do we actually have any power? You decide. But we'll at least hand out
Please.
cards that say, go to jail.
Also, every other AAA affiliate is doing something like fun.
Yeah.
Like guys pretending within the realms of the law, pretending to be.
We can make them walk the
official
plank.
agents.
It's the Clippers.
They walk
Oh.
They have to walk the plank, and it could just be a pool.
It's
like,
a pool filled with hot dogs.
They get to like jump off the diving board into the pool, right? Like it, it doesn't. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
and it's filled with, and it's filled with relish. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Really bad, like warm relish because it's been in the pool all day.
And it's 90 degrees.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So-
we put it in at 8 a.m. It is now 6 p.m. in July.
There's a splash park there too.
There
They'll be
is.
fine. They can go rinse.
I just
No,
love how
they
this
got-
went
they
from,
got
oh,
dogs
cool yourself off in our nice pool to we want to cause skin disease within a matter of seconds.
Yes. Hey,
I hate
you had
those,
to
too.
you
That'd
had
be
to
terrible.
look you had to look at the thing called the hot dog sundae with a very graphic picture of it and go, yes,
Mhm.
that's thank you.
Yep.
This
Well,
is on you.
it looks horrible.
It
So
looks bad.
Yeah. Well, things
And you
that
can
don't
do it
look
well.
terrible. I've got the Arizona Diamondbacks apple pie chimichanga. Yes, please.
Oh,
Philadelphia
today.
Phillies
Oh.
loaded funnel cake fry sundae.
Oh,
Now, this is where we go downhill, but this would be a Pittsburgh thing. The Pittsburgh Pirates have a renegade hot dog that includes pot roast, caramelized onions, and pickle slices. So, okay, classic Pittsburgh. I get it. The Kansas City Royals have a back to blue burger where the burger is sold with a blue bun.
oh.
So that's interesting. Now, here's the finale, and this is probably the right answer to all this. Obviously, all this is like novelty food. You got a lot of different flavors, like some stuff you've never seen. The Miami Marlins are offering an all-you-can-eat ticket, which includes unlimited hot dogs, nachos, cheeseburgers, popcorn, peanuts, cookies, sodas, water. Literally every
Awesome.
traditional ballpark food is there. And it includes a ticket. And it'll just be you and 100 of your favorite new friends, because that's about all they bring to a ballpark these days. Although they were better last year. I shouldn't. I'm
They're
stooping a little low. Not that. I'm not reaching that far. They don't really fill up that park.
and
very
that's
well,
an
but-
awesome deal, though. I
But
mean,
yeah,
you get
truly,
everything.
that's
I mean,
tremendous.
everything's included basically except alcohol.
Yeah.
Like of your
Mhm.
average everyday and
Yeah, that's the
obviously for
core.
very obvious reasons, which we've also spoken about on the
We've
podcast.
multiple times.
Go back to those Cleveland.
Oh.
What was it? A dime or a nickel?
Nickel, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, like go back in the podcast for those.
Mhm.
We know why that's wrong.
Yep.
Don't do that. Like that's an incredible deal. Like They couldn't do that at Cincinnati because if they did, like there'd be fights over those seats. So I would love it if they did it though. Please.
Yeah. So anyways, that's what I'm following. I'm following the fact that I need to get myself to a ballpark and eat my body weight in food.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Speaking of body weight, welcome to Chess Heads. This is a podcast within a podcast. It was the perfect segue. Thank you so much for doing it that way.
Yep, you're welcome.
This was a thing you guys could have gone to. I got notified on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok of a beautiful thing that happened in the Marriott Inn in Montpelier, Ohio.
Okay.
About a week and a half ago. And it was the annual meeting of the NRCTPA. Now, what's that, you ask? It's the National Radio Control Truck Polling and Monster Truck Racing Association.
Wow.
So,
a great acronym.
It's a fantastic. It's NR/CTPA, but when it's spelled out,
They even have a slash.
And Monster
That's
Truck.
awesome.
Yeah. But and Monster Truck Racing is in parentheses, so it is like it takes up the entirety of like the letterhead.
Yes.
I want a hat with that acronym.
Yep.
It's so good.
Get me that hat.
It's so good. So I just spent a lot of the time you guys were talking about basketball. I did read a lot of their 46-page 2024 rules guide. First off, $20 to join, like for the year.
Wow.
That's the year-long membership.
Okay.
And they get you one entry in their yearly thing.
Could have put that
now,
on my resume.
Now, have you
Just
guys
for
ever
$20.
been? Have you ever been to a truck pull? You ever been to like a tractor pull?
I grew up in the country, so that was like that was a regular
It's
summer
so
thing for me.
fun.
Yep, that's
It's beautiful.
great. Yep.
Johnny, have you?
Unless you count college, no.
Okay, you should go. Go to the Franklin County Fair. They have them there.
And
It's great.
college,
Evan,
to be
Franklin
clear,
County?
as a disclaimer for those that don't know, college was a bunch of college guys pulling a truck around, which is not traditionally what people mean when they say truck.
It's not officially sanctioned by the committee, but
Correct.
By the what's the acronym again, Josh? Please, could you?
yeah, thank you.
spell
Yeah,
that out for us
the
again?
NR/CTPA.
In parentheses.
Then and parentheses AMTR. Sorry, it's the
Thank you.
TRCTPAMTRA.
And if you were wondering what the heck this podcast episode title meant, now you know.
Yes. There it is.
I want a hat with those letters in parentheses so bad.
Good. It's so good. Oh man, but imagine if you couldn't afford a big old truck or a tractor to ruin every weekend. You just had a little guy, I don't know, that maybe was perhaps a max of 15 pounds with the engine mounted in the front 50% of the vehicle with a store-bought tuned exhaust pipe. Because that's one of the 16 categories you can enter for a little like micro-sized like truck pull. I saw them on TikTok, and it's just honestly, if you've ever been to Montpelier, if you've ever been to Northwestern Ohio, it was a bunch of Northwestern Ohioan looking people, like just a bunch of older gentlemen in overalls and flannels, like just, revving their tiny little engines and like pulling like a few bricks along a track. It was great.
That's so
it's
funny.
So fun. Yeah, you can have, some of these entries, polling index, I got it's closer to 20. You can have digger, garden tractor, 2-wheel drive box stock, 2-wheel drive truck, 4-wheel drive pro modified, 4-wheel drive nitro, light super stock tractor, mini rod, insane unlimited. You can drive an unlimited. I don't know what that means, because it just said, when I went to the rule book, it said see rule book, and I'm like, I'm here already. But you can 100% just if you just have a little guy, you can just pull something. It was great. It looked like a fun weekend. Let me tell you what they did you got there at 8 a.m. on Saturday. You had a concourse presentation and voting in the small atrium of the Marriott suites. You had opening ceremonies. I would love to go to these opening ceremonies. You had competition, 2 polling rounds. you had polling rounds 1, a 1-hour lunch, and then polling round 2, and then on Sunday you had the NR/CTPA parentheses AMTR executive board meeting. You had a presentation.
Does their executive board have a separate?
I'm trying to find these guys. Like, there's no. Give me the links. I want to see these guys.
If their executive board has a different name, a specific name.
Yes. It's. Well, let me go back to the home and see.
Oh
It's
my!
beautiful.
Yeah, you can go to what you're following, Johnny, because
I picked what I'm following on the. This is the wrong day to go on this rant because you're talking about how cool trucks are and how great they are, and look at these truck pulls, and my rant of what I'm following this week, because it always turns into a rant because this is the way I am, is that there's too many trucks on the road, guys. There's too many. Now, Josh, you're talking about these older gentlemen that are in Western Ohio. That's farm country.
And they have their big trucks for their little trucks, and it's great.
Yes, and they have uses for said trucks. These are not show trucks, if you will. These are trucks of utility, of usefulness, of necessity. I live in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
Why are a quarter of the cars on the road trucks? What's going on? I can no longer, on certain turns, if people, I'm sure everybody's experienced this at some point. Sometimes they make, like, when you're turning, there's clearly not enough space, or like the left lane, if you're turning left at a light, like, should be back, but it's not always back. And then you have like a truck turning at you and they're always cutting the corner. And so you're worried you're going to get hit. That happened to me again today when I was going out of Sam's Club after getting gas. Shout out to Sam's Club. We love Sam's Club. That they have the best hot dogs outside of a ballpark. Anyway, trucks. There's too many of them. And I know y'all aren't using these trucks for truck things. You are just driving around trucks, like compensating for something. They're ginormous. They don't fit. You can't even park them because you never park them in one parking space. They're always taking up two. And you're cutting corners and you're going to hit people. There are too many trucks on the road. I'm done with trucks. You need a truck, that's fine. My brother has a truck. He doesn't need a truck either. So I'm calling out family members here. Brandon, you don't need a truck. Not right now. You're not. Well, he helped me move with
Yeah,
it,
see, that's where it gets tricky, man.
See, no one likes trucks until that one weekend.
I'm in a situation where
a quarter of the population need to have it.
Probably not.
That's too high. I'm not anti-truck. I'm anti-truck for the guy who lives in the suburbs with a white picket fence and doesn't work for a construction company. Mm-hmm. If you work, like, obviously there's certain like jobs that you have. I get it. But there's too many, and they're huge now. Like, why are they getting bigger every year? The trucks are getting bigger and bigger. I swear, like every single year. So not everybody needs a truck. There's too many trucks on the road. These older gentlemen that are doing the truck pull are excluded from this rant. They're awesome and probably very wholesome, and we love that.
Oh,
we would like to join the
salt of the earth
NCWP, whatever parentheses. We would like to join
the
that acronym.
The NRCT parentheses MTRA / in parentheses A. There was something else. I forgot something, but yes.
Josh, that was honestly pretty good.
Still trying to find
see
if
they have merch after we're done with the podcast. Yes. I want to see what they got.
And real quick, I do want to give, this is my quick action statement because I found this and I think this is as an action statement. First off, truck drivers, maybe consider something less that.
Just get a smaller truck.
This is a little one. They make Mavericks. I think the new Colorado is going smaller. Toyota's making a new one.
Just a smaller truck.
Smaller. You don't need to carry all of your manhood. It's okay to drive something smaller. We won't think less of you. In fact, we'll probably think more of you.
Yeah.
You're just going 5 minutes down the road to get groceries. You don't need a truck.
You know what I did? I did the same thing and I spent a quarter down of gas and no one hated me.
Right.
But I just want to give a little bit of hope. I know we talk about snark and sending people to jail and things that would probably kill you if you ate them, but I want to just give some encouragement to the White Sox because I feel bad for them.
We
sometimes.
do. We've kind of hammered them today. We need that.
I don't know.
So I feel bad. We haven't hammered them that hard.
Well,
but
they're
I know,
terrible.
like,
It's self-inflicted.
they're so bad
Yeah.
because we blasted them last year with their botched rollout of their like season ticket holder pins.
Oh, I forgot about
different
that.
pin.
Yeah.
So this has been a long time coming. But I want to tell you guys about all the other baseball teams that started off 0-4 with 40 plus strikeouts and 8 or fewer runs scored after the first 4 games.
Oh,
That's bad. So the 2024 White Sox, that's where we are now. And the only other team ever to do this, the 2021 Braves, who
Yeah, they did all right.
Who famously did okay that year. So Chicago White Sox, order that banner from Etsy and get ready.
yeah, from Etsy because you don't want fanatics making it.
For real. By the way, Mike Trout just crushed a ball 473 feet for his second home run. The game's now tied. The Marlins will surely win it in the 9th inning. But just that Mike Trout update. He's doing
so
well.
Excited to see the next 3.
Tungsten Armo Doyle. The memes are back, boys.
It's back.
Yeah. All right. Well, we need to wrap up the show because Iowa LSU tied at halftime. So we've got some homework to do.
Yeah,
we got some games to watch.
We got games to watch.
So listeners, as always, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We will be back next week with the everything but the championship. We'll have known by the time we record next week, which that's one of those awkward things. Why are we playing this on a Monday? I'll ask that question till the end of time. Dumb. Play it the Final Four Friday, play the championship. I don't know. Fix it. Anyways, you guys know how it goes. But because this is April 1st, this is how I would like to end the show. I am thrilled that we are getting a 14-team playoff in college football. I think that is excellent by all accounts. I don't think it will mess up anything, and the regular season will be just as meaningful. Happy April Fools.
Yeah, that game's 45 apiece right now. I got to get that game on.
Yep.
Let's try. NCAA wasn't letting me stream it, so I got to find another way.
It's on ESPN might, depending on what.
Oh, ESPN might? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
do it
through
that way.
them.
Stupid. Oh, that's right, because technically it's a different league technically, so it doesn't have the same. Yeah.
Yeah.